San Juan County Market Update, April 2022, and what will rising interest rates do to affect home prices?
Selling your home isn't as hard as it may seem. Would you call Brian Crawford at the New Mexico Dream House Team?
So I want to start with the number of houses sold, and most of the numbers I'm going to give you today are all going to be year total. The reason I'm going year total is that 4 months gives us a pretty large sample and kind of tells us where the market is. In April 2022, at the close of April 2022, thus far this year, in San Juan County, we've sold 348 houses. Now, that is actually down from April of 2021, where we sold 357. That's down about 3%, which is not really a significant number. With an average sales price of $234,726 in San Juan County year to date in 2022, and compared to $213,590 last year, house prices are up almost 10%. Now, our average days on market was down about 62%, with our average days on market being 34 days year to date. Now, that's compared to 55 days last year. Yes, mortgage rates are on the rise. In fact, this year, interest rates in January started at about 3.1%. Now they're at about 5.5%. But really, it hasn't slowed down at all. Experts project that we'll have consistent raising interest rates through the end of 2022. And now, historically speaking, nationwide, back in 93-94, when the interest rates rise 1%, houses continued to improve in price by 8%. What we've seen in San Juan County most recently, from 1998 to 2020, we actually saw a decrease in volume, which was pretty insignificant, about 1% when interest rates climbed over 1%. But we saw an increase in price of almost 10% over the course of that 2 years. But prices have continued to increase. How will interest rates affect the value of your house? Yes, some buyers will be priced out of the market, but it still stands that we do not have enough inventory in our market to serve all of the buyers. We will continue to sell houses. Prices will probably continue to increase in value. So rising interest rates can certainly and will most likely decrease buyer activity and price some buyers out of the market. So what does this mean overall? The complexity of our market is very different. We're in a very different position historically than we've ever been. So we're really entering into some uncharted territory. In 2020, when the pandemic happened, the Federal Reserve dropped interest rates in order to keep the economy afloat because we didn't know what the pandemic was going to do. In turn, after 2 years, we've seen rapid inflation and a rapid increase in home prices, which has been unprecedented. So the Federal Reserve has announced that, in fact, the Atlanta region president of the Fed has announced that they're going to do 2 more half-point, possibly 3 more half-point interest rate hikes, and then reassess what it's doing to the economy overall. So this isn't as simple as supply and demand, but we still have a lack of supply and we have a high demand for houses. So that should hold prices steady at least through the end of 2022. If you're a buyer and have decided you're going to wait for prices to come down before you buy a house, that strategy just doesn't hold water. We haven't seen a rapid decrease in value due to interest rates climbing historically. So when we see headlines, in fact, a local paper recently said that pricing was down. I don't know what their data source was, but according to our local multiple listing service, prices are still up 10% for the year. So when we see headlines nationwide of the market softening, it's simply because buyers don't have enough houses to buy. Our inventory levels are lower than they were last year, and we can't sell what we do not have. So the market's not softening at all. Prices don't seem to be softening. We'll likely see volume decrease, but the interest rates are not going to drive prices down significantly. And historically, they'll continue to climb, and we'll continue to have demand in our market. Now, if you have any questions that I didn't address in this video, I would be more than happy to answer them via call, text, email. You can click on our website below, and you can schedule an appointment with me, and we can discuss whether it's right for you to buy or sell in this complex market.